Every morning, thousands of seniors begin their day with a seemingly harmless ritual, pouring themselves a steaming cup of coffee and taking a tentative sip before they even eat. At first glance, it appears benign, almost comforting, but what many don't realize is that this simple habit can gradually set off a chain of deadly health dangers hidden deep inside their bodies. The hot coffee, especially when consumed on an empty stomach, begins to irritate the delicate, age-weakened lining of their intestines. The temperature of the coffee plays a crucial role. Drinking it at a temperature above 130 degrees Fahrenheit causes tiny tears in the intestinal walls, triggering low-grade inflammation that many seniors dismiss as occasional stomach discomfort or acid reflux. Over time, this irritation doesn't fade away. Instead, it persists, slowly weakening the gut's ability to function effectively. As days turn into weeks, this constant irritation starts to damage the barrier that normally shields the bloodstream from harmful substances inside the intestines. The intestinal lining becomes more permeable, allowing toxins, bacteria, and undigested food particles to slip through into the bloodstream in a process known as leaky gut. This insidious breach occurs silently, often without any noticeable symptoms, but the consequences are severe. The body responds to the invasion of these toxins by triggering an ongoing immune response, leading to widespread inflammation that targets critical organs like the heart and brain. Medical studies have shown that seniors with persistent leaky gut face a significantly increased risk of developing arterial inflammation, blood clots, and ultimately, life-threatening cardiovascular events. The inflammation damages blood vessels, promotes plaque buildup, and elevates the risk of stroke and heart attack across an unnoticeable timeline. It's crucial to understand that this damage accumulates gradually and often remains undetected until a catastrophic event occurs. The longer the gut remains inflamed and permeable, the higher the chance that a tiny blood clot or ruptured plaque will cause an abrupt, fatal stroke or cardiac arrest. Many seniors are unaware that what they do daily out of habit contributes directly to this escalation of danger. This silent process quietly prepares the body for a sudden and devastating health crisis, often taking lives without warning, leaving families stunned and physicians powerless to prevent the inevitable. The mechanism behind this progression is insidious, taking years of chronic inflammation and unnoticed damage to culminate in a sudden, irreversible event that claims their lives. The key to preventing this dark cascade is much simpler than most believe, but it must be implemented consistently. Swapping that morning cup of hot black coffee for a warm glass of lemon water mixed with 1 teaspoon of honey and a pinch of ginger at a temperature of about 100 degrees Fahrenheit can significantly reduce gut inflammation. This natural approach supports the gut's healing, stabilizes blood sugar, and stops the vicious cycle before it can advance to the deadly severity that senior patients are often unaware they are approaching. As the chronic inflammation persists within the body, it begins to target the delicate lining of the blood vessels, especially the arteries that supply vital organs like the heart and brain. Over months or even years, this internal assault causes the walls of these arteries to weaken and develop deposits of fatty substances, collectively known as plaque. This buildup is a gradual process, often silent and unnoticed, but its impact is devastating. The plaque narrows the arterial passages, restricting blood flow, and sets the stage for a deadly cascade. Regular blood tests revealing elevated levels of inflammatory markers, such as C-reactive protein, often indicate that this process is underway long before any symptoms appear. The warning signs are subtle at first: occasional dizziness, mild fatigue, or fleeting chest discomfort, easily dismissed by seniors and their families. Yet beneath these mild symptoms lies a dangerous progression that will eventually reach a critical threshold. As the plaque continues to accumulate, the arteries become less flexible and more brittle. This arterial stiffening increases the likelihood of tiny tears in the vessel walls, which exacerbate inflammation further, creating a vicious cycle. Over time, these injured areas become hotspots for blood clots to form. When a clot breaks free or suddenly blocks an already narrowed artery, it can cut off blood supply to the brain or heart within seconds. These events are often sudden and catastrophic, with many sufferers experiencing no prior warning, only the abrupt onset of severe symptoms. A sudden loss of consciousness, paralysis, or intense chest pain signals the deadly culmination of months or years of unnoticed damage. These blood clots are like ticking time bombs, silently forming in the background, waiting for the slightest provocation to trigger a life-threatening event. What makes this even more terrifying is the realization that the process begins far earlier than anyone suspects. Scientific evidence demonstrates that the earliest stages of arterial inflammation and plaque formation can start decades before any physical symptoms emerge. Autopsy studies on seniors who died suddenly reveal extensive arterial damage and advanced plaque buildup in arteries that showed no symptoms during their lives. This means many individuals are unknowingly living on the brink of disaster, oblivious to the danger lurking within their blood vessels. Its silent progression is a hidden clock, steadily counting down to a possible fatal event. Because symptoms like mild fatigue or fleeting dizziness are so nonspecific, they rarely prompt immediate medical intervention until the damage reaches a critical, irreversible point. Recognizing the invisibility of early inflammation underscores how essential it is to adopt preventive measures long before any warning signs appear. Proper dietary modifications, such as reducing intake of processed sugars and trans fats, avoiding excessive refined carbohydrates, and maintaining a consistent routine of 30 minutes of moderate exercise at least 5 times a week, can slow or even reverse some of this damage. Equally important is controlling blood sugar levels to below 100 milligrams per deciliter after fasting for 8 hours and keeping body temperature of consumed foods under 105 degrees Fahrenheit to prevent additional stress on the aging arteries. Understanding that these processes are already in motion confirms the urgency of early intervention and vigilant health monitoring. Over the course of years, the silent, insidious damage caused by chronic inflammation within the body gradually reaches a deadly tipping point. The weakened walls of blood vessels develop tiny tears and accumulate massive amounts of plaque, thickening arterial walls and reducing blood flow. Without warning, these previously unnoticed damages can suddenly trigger catastrophic events. Imagine a senior quietly going about their day, feeling slight fatigue or a fleeting dizziness, feeling perfectly fine moments before. But beneath the surface, the underlying arterial walls are so compromised that a tiny rupture or a blood clot can rapidly block vital arteries supplying the brain or heart. In a matter of seconds, what once seemed like a normal day can turn into a nightmare. Sudden paralysis, loss of consciousness, or severe chest pain mark the tragic culmination of years of unnoticed internal decay. These moments are often so abrupt and overwhelming that immediate medical intervention is critical. A massive stroke or a fatal heart failure can strike without warning, claiming lives that appeared healthy just moments earlier. Medical evidence shows autopsies revealing extensive arterial damage in individuals who had no prior symptoms, illustrating how these dangers are often concealed in plain sight. The unrelenting progression of inflammation leading to arterial rupture and clot formation is a time bomb ticking away silently within countless seniors. The true horror lies in the realization that this devastating chain of events begins with something as innocuous as a morning ritual, a hot cup of coffee. It seems harmless, comforting even, but the high temperature and acidity can quietly set the stage for long-term harm. Drinking coffee at temperatures above 130 degrees Fahrenheit can cause tiny tears in the delicate membranes of the gastrointestinal tract, initiating low-grade inflammation that slowly worsens over time. Unbeknownst to many, this seemingly benign habit can silently accelerate arterial inflammation and weaken blood vessel walls, pushing the body toward an irreversible catastrophe. Recognizing how such a simple daily activity acts as the silent trigger reveals the importance of early prevention. The good news is that reversing or halting this harmful cycle can be surprisingly straightforward. Instead of hot coffee, replace your first morning drink with a warm glass of natural lemon water, using about 8 ounces of water heated to exactly 100 degrees Fahrenheit, mixed with 1 teaspoon of raw honey and a tiny pinch of fresh ginger. This gentle alternative supports gut health, stabilizes blood sugar, reduces inflammation, and strengthens blood vessels. Incorporating this small change consistently each morning can neutralize the internal inflammatory process, preventing the buildup of arterial plaque and safeguarding against sudden, deadly events. By making this simple switch, hundreds of lives can be saved, evidence-based science showing that natural remedies are powerful tools in combating the insidious progress of internal damage. The key to preventing a fatal crisis lies in understanding how seemingly harmless habits can have profound, life-altering consequences. Being proactive with a specific measurable change, like swapping the temperature and ingredients of the morning routine, can lead to dramatic reductions in inflammation and ultimately save lives long before symptoms ever appear.